Hi, good morning. Thanks so much for joining in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit, and my name is Alex Mathew. This show gets you answers to all of your stock-related questions. To that end, if you've got either short or long-term questions for us, you can send them to us on that number that you see flashing on your screen right now. But before we do look at your questions, let's look at where the markets are right now. In fact, you have the benchmark Nifty 50 that's trading with gains of about 0.4%. It's more or less at the high point of the day, or not too far away from that mark. And again, not too far away from that 25,000 mark either. The mid-cap and the small-cap indices are both trading with gains, and in fact, the broader markets are looking even more buoyant at this juncture. The market breadth tilted in favor of the advances. The key contributors on the Nifty 50 then, and in fact, you have HDFC Bank at the top of the list. Not doing too much, but as it is a heavyweight, it's contributing quite a bit to the up move. Tata Motors, NTPC, Power Grid and ICICI Bank are the other contributors. You have among the losers the IT pack that is not doing particularly well. TCS is among the worst performers, followed by Ultratech Cement as well as ITC. M&M not doing too well either. Results this week. In terms of the sectoral performers, IT is the worst of the lot. It's not losing too much ground, but it is in fact losing about 0.25% or thereabouts. The top performers are energy as well as oil and gas. The oil marketing companies are doing incredibly well in trade today. The likes of HPCL as well as BPCL gaining ground in trade. Among the other stocks that we've been looking at, there are several, of course, that are leading gains, but then we're focusing in on Colgate. And the stock is arguably one of the stocks of the day, up as much as 5.5% on the back of earnings. And we've got Mahima joining in to tell you about some of the details. And after we get some of those details from the Q1 earnings, we'll take it to our experts. But Mahima, rural performance looking better than urban at this juncture, that's a positive?
Absolutely, Alex. So this is the second quarter where rural performance has outpaced the urban volumes overall. Just to give you a brief about the numbers, revenue is up around 13%. EBITDA is up around 22%, and margins have improved from 31.6% to 34%. Now, this is not very normal for FMCG companies. Net profit has also been up 33%, which is why we're seeing the uptick in stock today. Well, a couple of highlights from the Q1 FY25 results. Toothpaste posted a double-digit sales growth. Volumes grew in high single digits. Similarly for toothbrush, strong double-digit sales growth, and volumes grew in high single digits. Now, in terms of EBITDA margins, they expanded over 240 basis points, and premium portfolio for Colgate is growing faster than the overall portfolio. Now, a couple of brokerages have given their targets and view on Colgate. Nuvama is positive and maintains buy and raised its target price to 3745. And they're saying that, Colgate has now started to gradually benefit from the likely rural recovery, and they anticipate balanced growth in FY25 versus pricing led by FY24. Citi, however, has a sell call on Colgate with a target price of 2850. They estimate 6% volume growth for the overall company in FY25. They believe that while there is opportunity for growth in consumption, Colgate will still have to struggle with the competition around. It is also said that they estimate moderation in margin expansion going ahead in FY25, and overall they remain positive by saying that Colgate India seems to be investing in growth and consumption overall. And lastly, Jefferies is also maintained buy with a target price of 3570. So this is the overall view of brokerages and overall view of how Colgate has performed in Q1 FY25.
Right. Thanks so much for getting us those details, Mahima. Let's get our experts on board then. We've got Asta Jain, Senior Research Analyst at HEM Securities, as well as Swati Hodkar, AVP Technical Research at Nirmal Bang. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time, both of you. Asta, I'll come to you first on Colgate. What did you make of the numbers? We just heard what other brokerages are making of it, in fact, and also what the numbers looked like. What do you make of the results? Okay, I think you're on mute, Asta, so you might have to unmute and give us your view on Colgate. Yeah.
Apologies. Hi, good morning to both of you. Talking about Colgate, the numbers are good because 13% rise in the top line. We have seen a strong bottom line growth, and that too led by the strong volume growth. So I think because their toothpaste portfolio is really working well, and one of the key highlights in this that their whitening gel is really working strongly for the company, because they have also introduced one campaign, brush at night or brush twice a day. So I think these campaigns are really working well for the company, and the result we have seen. In fact, their rural growth has outpaced the urban growth. So, and I think this is the second consecutive quarter of the strong rural growth shown by the company. So we are positive on the numbers. We continue to feel that company will going to perform strongly in the future also. And our stance on this counter is a hold as well as buy. And our initial price target is at around 35.50 to 35.60 levels, but that too in the long term, not in the short term or medium.
Right. That's a long-term view on Colgate Palmolive. Let's talk about the questions then. And quick reminder, do tell us your name as well as your location. That helps us help you identify when your question is taken. The first one I'm taking is from Snigdha, and she's writing in from Delhi, and she's asking about Equinox India, which is the former India Bulls real estate. It's a short-term question, so I will take it to you, Swati. On the chart, she's bought at levels of 137, and she's looking for a short-term view.
The overall technical setup on Alex on this particular counter is a little bit cautious. As of now, we are witnessing very sideways momentum in this particular counter. I believe as of now, the important resistance is placed at 140 levels. If it manages to surpass that level on the closing basis, then definitely we are likely to witness some up move near towards at least 155 to 160 levels. But at the current level, I will suggest to hold on. Downside, it has a very good support of 130 level. So by holding or keeping a stop loss for 130, you can hold the long positions for immediate target of 155 to 160.
All right. We've got a question from Sridinath, and he's writing in from Hyderabad. He's planning to invest 10,000 rupees in August, and he's thinking of investing in the long term, either in Kalyan Jewelers or Triveni Turbines. Do you think it's the right time to enter, and any suggestions as to what percentage you would allocate to each? First of all, Asa, would you pick these two counters, or are there better names to pick, and what ratio would you invest in them?
So these two counters are looking decent to us. No issues in picking these two counters also, especially if I talk about the Kalyan Jewelers. I think that is our choice number one. So talking about this counter, we think that jewelry companies will continue to perform strongly in their financials, and that is what we can see in the share price momentum also. So these both counters are good, but if I have to pick any one of them, then I will go with the Kalyan Jewelers. Apart from this, the other counters which are looking good to us is in the real estate space is Oberoi Realty. So Oberoi Realty has posted very strong set of numbers. So one can have a look on that counter also, with a price target of 1950. And another banking stock which is looking good to us is the Bank of Maharashtra, with a very strong set of numbers, and their deposit growth has really gained traction. So Bank of Maharashtra is another count. Here we are positive with a price target of 76 to 78 at the initial level. So Kalyan Jewelers followed by Oberoi Realty and Bank of Maharashtra. These three are our choices. Now the proportion of allocation. So I think Bank of Maharashtra as well as Oberoi Realty can be dedicated. I mean, around 70% of the investment amount can be dedicated to these two counters, and remaining 30% to Kalyan Jeweler, because Kalyan Jeweler has also seen a strong rise.
Okay, that's a fair point. All right, the next counter that we're taking is on the short term, and it's Orient Green Power Company, which is currently trading at 21.89. I'm hoping that you have a view on this one, Swati. We've got Ajay from Telangana, who's bought 10,000 shares. That's very close to the current market price at 21.45. He's asking if we should hold on or should he sell?
See, as of now, the overall structure of this particular counter doesn't look much positive on the technical front. We are witnessing a very strong resistance between 23 to 24 levels. Unless until it doesn't give the breakout of the same levels on the closing basis, we are not likely to witness some positive momentum. But on the downside, it has a very good support of 20. I believe as long as it sustains the 20 levels on the closing basis, definitely one can hold for the longer term durations. I believe once the stock manages to give the breakout of 23-24 levels, 28 to 30 levels can be seen. So at the current levels, yes, definitely risk reward ratio in his favor, so he can hold on by maintaining a strict stop loss of 20 rupees on the downside.
Okay, we've got an interesting question from Kanishk, and he's writing that they just discovered that their father had bought Larsen and Toubro shares at levels of 20 rupees. And I do not know when this happened, but he has confirmed to me that the shares have not been dematerialized yet. So 300 shares were bought. He's still got, I think, physical share certificates, and they're in the process of trying to convert them. So it's quite likely, Asta, that because of corporate action over the course of the last several years, the number of shares could be more. But the question is, would you hold on to something like this?
It's a no-brainer question. Actually, speaking about L&T, yes, one should hold this counter for the long term. Initial price target can be set at around 4,300. So now talking about this counter, first of all, I request him to just contact the registrar and get the share dematerialized, because it is very important. So first of all, that is a request. And secondly, talking about this counter, we are looking after the positive guidance by the management, and their order inflow is the one and is the key which is really gaining traction. So I think on the back of strong order inflow with a positive guidance, the stock is set to touch 4,200 or 4,300 in the short to medium term. Recommending a hold on this counter. Initial price target can be set at around 4,300 rupees.
All right. We've got a question coming in from Chandra Raj, and he's asking about Zydus Life, which he's bought at levels of 1135. He's got a significant quantity, 1,200 shares. He's asking whether he should hold it and what the target should be. Swati, what's the view on the chart?
Alex, the chart looks very fantastic on the technical front, whether you check it on a higher decrease, say monthly or the weekly and the daily as well as. On the monthly chart, the stock has given the breakout of the flat patterns, and which looks very positive on the technical front. I believe that the upside rally can go through up to 1,400 and so levels, whereas a downside, it has a good support. The stock is taking a support of 20 days moving average, which comes to at around 1120 levels. So as of at the current level, I believe definitely one should hold on by maintaining a strict say the profit stop loss of 1120 for immediate target of 1,400 rupees on the high side.
1,400 rupees is the target. All right, that's the view on Zydus Life. And we've got the next counter that we're talking about in the automotive ancillary space, Motherson Sumi Wiring for the long term. And we've got Avinash, who has not told us his buy price, but he's saying that he's got 25 shares and he's looking for a long-term outlook. Asta, this is a stock, of course, that is demerged from the parent. A lot of people positive on it. Are you as well? And should he hold on for the long term?
Yes, definitely. Because first of all, vertical integration is which is happening in the company. In fact, they are also looking after setting up of 3 manufacturing facilities. So, I mean, in short, I can say the expansion of manufacturing facilities is going on in the company. So that will definitely going to reap benefits in the future. So my recommendation is hold. Initial price target, which I am attributing to this counter, is around 82 rupees to 85 rupees.
All right. We are going to take more of your questions, but we have to slip into a very quick break. We'll be back on the other side to take them, so do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit. And the next question that we're taking is from Jignesh. He's writing in from Mumbai and he's asking about CAMS, which is on a tear today. It's up as much as 8.8%. And in fact, I'm not sure. I've asked him whether he has bought or not, but he's all right. So he's confirmed that he bought on the 24th of July at 4,045. So he's already, in just the span of a few days, made quite a bit of gains. He's got a very long-term perspective, though, for the next 3 to 5 years. And Asta, on the fundamentals, he's wondering what his target should be and should he hold on?
Definitely hold on, because it is a duopoly market. We know, I mean, this industry is having only CAMS as well as K FinTech. So it's a duopoly market, which is into the TA of mutual fund. So I think and the market is very strong, as we all are saying, the kind of participation we are seeing into the capital markets. So that will be definitely helping these companies in showing strong financial performance going ahead. And in future also, we are expecting the capital markets, Indian capital markets, continue to perform strongly. So I think one can remain invested in the counter, although initial price target, because the counter has already seen a huge jump. So we are limiting our price target to 47.50 to 47.80 at the current juncture, but remain invested in the counter.
Okay, so not significant upside in the near term, but certainly something to watch out for. As Asta has pointed out, it is in fact a duopoly. Nita has got this next question. She's asking about HCC, a Hindustan construction company, which she's bought at levels of 55.45, and she's looking for a short-term target. The stock is more or less at the buy price. It is currently trading at 55 or thereabouts. On the technicals, what are the key levels to watch, and what targets would you suggest? How long would you suggest holding this, Swati? Swati, I think you're on mute.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Alex, if you look on the monthly chart, the stock has given the breakout of a cluster resistance, which was coming towards 242 rupees. In the year of 2013-14, we have seen that very strong resistance level. Now the stock has surpassed that level, and probably it has continued its uptrend rally in the near future also. I believe that the next target in the coming few months or say, we can say up to 70 to 80 rupees, I can see on the charts. Why I'm saying that? Because on the monthly chart, the stock has given the breakout of a symmetrical triangle pattern, which is a very strong formations. Even the volumes are increasing along with the price momentum. So whenever the volume and the price are goes in hand to hand, definitely this kind of a rally is likely to be continued in the near future as well. Since the buying price is at the current market price only itself, I will suggest to hold on. If possible, try to keep the stop loss of a 45 rupees on the downside and hold for a long-term target of at least 70 rupees on the high side.
All right. This is a first for me, at least. We've got a viewer, Arvind Kumar Sakala, who's tuning in from Lagos. And, I think this is the first that we've taken a question from Nigeria. Thanks for tuning in, Arvind. He's asking about HDFC Bank. And Asta, it's an interesting question because he's looking for a long-term view. And he's pointing out that it hasn't done very much over the last year or so. And that, I think, has been a little bit of a problem for a lot of investors. Of course, it is up about 1% in trade today. But what would you suggest are the targets for 1 year down the line, or maybe beyond that?
So 1 year down the line, we are giving the target of around 1850 to 1900 to this counter. And I'm keeping my finger crossed while giving these targets. But what we have seen in the results, so although the results were not very strong, but the way the bank has been able to reduce their cost of borrowing is very encouraging. And going ahead also, I think the bank will continue to show strong growth in the deposits, although in these results, the deposit growth was flattish. But I think going ahead, we can expect a growth on that front also. And if that will be the case, definitely the bank financials can be seen positively impacted by that. And hence, we are positive on the counter, recommending a hold, as well as buy on dip strategy can also be applied to this counter. Initial price target can be set at around 1800 to 1850 to 1900. In the long term.
In the long term. All right. The next counter is on DCX India, and I'm coming back to you, Asta, on the fundamentals. We've got Naman, who's tuning in from Delhi, and he's asking whether to enter this counter for the long term. And he's defined that as 10 to 12 years. And I know that you can't look that far into the future, but would you suggest buying for the long term?
Sorry, Alex, I don't cover this counter, so cannot comment on it.
Okay,
Unknowingly right now.
that's fine. We'll go to Swati on this. DCX India is the name of the counter. Do you have a view? Is there enough data for you to look at it, Swati?
Yes, Alex, we have a data on this particular counter. If we look towards the chart, the stock is just showing a negative divergence on the weekly charts. And the stock is facing a very strong resistance nearby at least nearby 430, 450 levels. As of now, currently the stock is trading by 385 or so. I believe it has a cluster support nearby 360. If the stock spread down to that support level, then the selling pressure is likely to be intensified and which might take a stock back towards to 300. So I will suggest on every rise, one should exit the long position. I don't believe that this particular counter is good for a delivery purpose as such.
Okay. I'm coming back to you, Swati, on Divi's Laboratories, and we've got Rajesh Maheshwari, who's recently returned from Singapore, as he tells us, and he's writing in from Indore, and he's bought at levels of 4,415. He's got 55 shares, and he's looking for a short-term perspective. At what level do you think that he should sell the stock?
See, Divi's Lab is definitely one of the very good counter. It's just slowly and steadily it's near entering into the overbought zone. I believe nearby 5,000 or 5,050 levels, we might witness some sort of a profit bookings because once the stock gave the breakout of 4,500, we have seen the once at the stretch rally of almost 500 points. So the profit booking cannot be denied at the higher level. So I will suggest, if possible, try to book your profit beyond 5,000 levels, and you will get an opportunity to again buy on dips towards to 4,600 or 4,500 levels. So at the current level, it's a hold from my end. Definitely 100 more points we can witness on the higher sides. If you're looking for any profit stop losses, I will suggest to give the profit stop loss of 48.50 levels will be kept as a profit stop loss and carry your long positions.
All right, and it's had a pretty good run over the last 6 months or so, 40% or thereabouts. We've got Prakash, and his question is on a number of stocks, and I generally don't encourage this, but then it's an interesting query. So Asa, this one's for you. He's bought stocks like CESC as well as Gland and Infibeam, in which he's saying that he's making significant gains. He's looking at whether or not to book profits into these companies and move to things like BSE as well as Praj, IRB, Infra. Would you suggest that he should do this or hold on to the names that he has already got?
I think hold is a better strategy at this point of time. Now, talking about Infibeam, we have seen the net take rate is increasing and gaining momentum. In fact, Infibeam has plans to expand in the international markets also. So I think going ahead, that will be the case for giving a hold on this counter, because definitely we are expecting some decent performance financially from this counter. So Infibeam is a hold from my side. CESC is also looking decent at this juncture. So there is no need to exit or book the profit. So both these counter, because I remember these two names. So I think rather than entry in Praj or any other counter, I think it's better to hold these two counter at present moment of a time, which is Infibeam and CESC. In fact, Gland Pharma was the third counter. Now I recall that. So in fact, Gland Pharma is also looking good to us. We are expecting the strong financial performance going ahead also from this counter. In fact, we are positive on the pharmaceutical industry as a whole. And in fact, if anyone has to go for any other counter, then Cipla is looking very strong to us. So in fact, we are advising, if you want to go in any pharmaceutical space, go for Cipla. And I think Cipla will be giving the returns, strong returns. And our price target for the Cipla at present moment of time is around 1,650 to 1,700.
Okay, all right. Let's quickly run through a few more questions. Ladies, if you can keep your answers a little shorter, that will be appreciated. At the current levels, Power Grid bought at 273. DJ Rao is asking whether it can be added more. Swati, on the charts, how does it look? Should you add more at this current price?
Alex, the chart looks very good. I will not suggest to give the add-on at the current market price because the buying average will not come down again. Upside, definitely the stock looks good. So I believe that the 400 levels can be seen very soon. So you can hold on the long position. If you're getting any dips towards 320 between or 300, definitely you can add on, but not at the current levels.
Okay, Asta, quick question. Tata Steel bought at levels of 147 quite some days ago is the question. Chaitanya is asking, any analysis as to whether to hold or sell? The stock is currently at 163.
Hold is a recommendation from my side. Initial price target can be set at around 185 to 190.
Okay, all right. Can we slip in one more? Okay, one last question. Nalco and Hind Copper at the current levels, would you suggest a fresh entry? Swati, you can comment on both or one of them. Suvadeep wants to know.
Definitely, as of now, I can check that on the Hind Copper, you can go for a fresh long positions because the stock is trading above the 200 DM and the risk reward will be a favor. Any dips towards to 300, definitely one can go add on. But for the Nalco, I will suggest to wait and watch because the stock is facing a very strong resistance between 195 to 200 levels. We might witness some profit booking in this particular counter towards to 170 will be the very good levels to take a fresh long positions, but not at the current market price.
All right, Asta and Swati, thanks so much for taking the time. Pleasure speaking with you as always. Viewers, that's all the time we have on Ask Profit. There's lots lined up in just a bit. Do stay tuned. This is NDTV Profit.
Hello and welcome. This is Hot Money. I'm Agam Vakil, and in this show we take you through all the stocks which are or have been the flavor of the season. But before that, a quick look at how markets are faring. Advances for the Nifty. We're looking at the Nifty once again trying to inch towards the mark of 25,000. Whether or not that can come through is a wait and watch, but we do have strength return with both the key benchmark indices, the Nifty as well as the Bank Nifty, off day's lows. From here on, the advances are, let's take a look at the constituents of the Nifty and see where there is a pull and push, and perhaps, of course, in terms of the advances, there are much more than the declines coming through. We have your usual suspects like HDFC Bank, something like Tata Motors, NTPC and ICICI Bank aiding the up move, and what's swinging down on the indices is TCS, ITC and Ultratech to a certain extent. Now, of course, today is a day where NTPC does stand